So it's no surprise that the latest DLC kinda flopped. I mean, the new jet was pretty nice and some of the missions were pretty fun, but everything else kinda sucked in the new DLC that just came out. So instead of moping about the DLC for the next few months, as well as waiting for GTA 6, I decided to see what it would be like if I were to design my own DLC, complete with new vehicles, new features, and maybe some missions, who knows? I mean, who else but the fans and the loyal customers of the beloved video game franchise to pick up the pieces after the intended developer drops the ball? I mean, we already see this in the form of mods, and for the longest time we've resorted to mods to better improve games that may lack desired features, or add ideas that people may think would be fun or a useful addition to be added to the game, so I'm gonna give it a shot. A lot of you may know this by now, but I'm actually a 3D modeler myself. I also animate as well as design things in my spare time, and have close to 10 years of experience using Blender. So it might be a pretty fun experience if we try this out, who knows? But instead of designing a whole bunch of vehicles, features and whatnot, going through the lengthy process of modeling, texturing, rigging and animating everything at once, making it all into a singular epic video, only for that video to then get shit on by YouTube's algorithm to the sum of ad revenue that might pay for half of my lunch the following day, I figured it might be a good idea to do this one at a time, in parts so to say. So for part 1, I'm going to make a vehicle. Now what vehicle, you may be asking? Well, just look at the thumbnail, you idiot. We're going to make a hovercraft, the Vortex to be specific. As it made its first outing in GTA San Andreas, the Vortex was a very interesting vehicle indeed. It was a little broken in some places, but still pretty damn fun. You could ride around town, busting your cap into coppers. Attention all officers, if you could just shoot the inflatable cushion underneath the vehicle, you could stop this car chase in like 5 seconds, thank you. You could cross most terrain using the thing, and you could also glide long distances from buildings if you spawned on top of them. Needless to say, the Vortex was a ton of fun. One of many things that made GTA San Andreas that very special game. And I'm surprised we never got any sort of hovercraft like this in GTA 5. I mean, we had the likes of the Blazer Aqua and the Technical Aqua, but those vehicles never really rang the same tone, if you know what I'm saying. So let's design one for GTA 5. And to begin, I started off by actually going into San Andreas, the original, not the shitty remaster. I ripped the vehicle model from the game, applied the textures and put it in Blender for use as a sort of inspiration for the design of a newer, sleeker design. So to start off, I began by using simple geometry to outline the basic shape of the vehicle. Whenever you begin the modelling process of most objects, it's usually advised to start off low poly and then just use modifiers to automatically remesh them into a higher poly model. It makes things a lot easier and faster for you. Here you can see me making the seat of the hovercraft. I wanted to make a sort of soft cushion for the character to sit on, so what I did was I made a basic shape that resembles the cushion, and then I used soft body physics to mould the final shape of the cushion into something a bit more realistic. Soft body physics are really fun to play with once you know how to, and they can produce incredibly detailed yet optimised meshes for models. Now it's time to make the engine of the hovercraft, though to be honest I was feeling kinda lazy, so I just downloaded a model off the internet. Though it didn't come with any UVs or textures, so I had to do all of that myself, but it wasn't really a problem. So we've got most of the hovercraft made at this point. It is missing some details like wiring, fuel lines and other small details, but for now I think it looks good enough to showcase for a concept, so I dragged it into a program called Substance Painter, which basically allows me to very quickly and easily make the textures of the hovercraft. Okay, so now's the time to figure out how this vehicle is going to work. So the hovercraft sits on top of a cushion of air, right? Okay, so there's two ways we could go around this. The first option we have would be to use cloth simulation. Cloth simulation is basically realistically simulating cloth. GTA 5 actually does cloth simulation on some objects like flags and this tube character thing, I don't know what they call them, but you can see one just outside of the car shop. The only disadvantage with using cloth simulation is that it's very taxing on the CPU and it slows your computer down to holy hell if you use it way too much. For a vehicle like the Vortex, yeah, it kind of lags the CPU quite a bit, and it would be quite dreadful if you had this in the actual game. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to rig up the whole thing using an armature. It'll be fine, it'll look just as good, and will simulate like a million times faster. Okay, let's move on to adding some player character animations to the vehicle. Let's whip out the old VR headset and do some motion capture. And now it's in Blender, we just kind of have to work with what we have. In an ideal situation, I'd ideally have a 1-to-1 scale model of the vehicles that then I could motion capture myself doing all of the actions, like getting in and out, steering the craft, as well as doing drive-by animations and whatnot. But I'm just some guy with little to no budget trying to make a good video in just a few days. And this is what I managed to make, which, all things considered, I think is pretty good. What do you think? So there we have it guys, our first DLC vehicle. Now for those who may be expecting me to put it in the actual game, well, sorry to disappoint you guys, but I would have no idea on how to actually do that. As far as modding goes, I install menu for single player mods to record crazy stuff, but that's about it. I'm no programmer or anything, I just model stuff. So I'd have no idea how to make this work in game, but perhaps there is someone out there who would be able to help out? Hit me up on Discord if you know how. Speaking of Discord, for those of you who would like to leave a comment, I'd like to know some of your ideas for a DLC vehicle and or feature to add in this hypothetical DLC. Maybe I'll respond to it and make it into the next video. Anyways, for now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, don't forget to join the Discord channel if you want to rub shoulders with me, as well as a ton of other GTA loving gamers just like you, and I will see you around, guys.